electronics always has a fun meaning in your life. If you're in high school, you can make a little device that makes a tone, a little high-pitched tone, and you can hide it in rooms or behind TV sets. And it bothers dogs, of course, or, you know, they can hear the high tones, and some people with good hearing can hear it, but they can't quite tell where it's coming from. And you discover in high school that generally the teacher says, no, the TV's on the blitz, and it's the students who say, no, it's got to be a little noisemaker up there. Only the teachers get fooled. Around this time, first year of college, got a TV jammer. Got onto it, a friend got me on how to build a little device you hold in your hand, and you turn a knob, and it jams a TV set. And so I would take it down over to one of the other dorms, because in my dorm, they knew me. And I would take it down in the basement of this dorm, and there'd be 20 kids watching a little colored TV. And I'd sit way in the back in the dark, and I'd have this thing in my hand, completely concealed, and I would tune it perfect, and all of a sudden, you know, whatever the shows of 1968 were, it would start to go bad. And for the first few tries, I had a friend of mine in the front row get up and hit the TV, bonk, you know, and it goes perfect. And then I jam it again, and he gets up, and after a while, he has to hit it harder and harder, but it always, if you shake that TV enough, it works. And you know, people can get very frustrated when inanimate objects don't work, when they have a problem inside. It's normally very docile, peaceful, you know, college students in the days of Vietnam will turn into animals, vicious killing animals, if it's a machine that's doing them in. They can, you know, if it's a person, it's nice, you know, it can mellow out. But generally, they would wind up after, by the end of a half an hour, it's easy to get any group of college kids hitting it with chairs and pounding all their fists on the TV set if it's an important show, and they've got to see the end of it, because they know that if you shake it good enough, it'll work. And I started visiting that dorm a lot just to see where this little psychology research would go. So they would generally station one guy right next to the TV set every night, and it was his job, every time it went bad, to start hitting it till it went good. And, you know, that went far enough, so sometimes I would just leave it jammed, and they'd get 5 people up there turning every control they could find on the back and the front, lifting antennas, and one time, you know, I jammed it, and it went bad, and the guy said, hey, the repairman was in, and he said it was the antenna. So they lifted the antenna up in the air, and the TV went perfect. For a while. And then they had to stand up real tall, and it went perfect. And the guy climbed up on a chair finally, and it was perfect for a few minutes. And when it went bad, he stood up on his tiptoes, and it was perfect. And he came down on his heels, and it was no go. That's almost as frustrating as the guy who gets up and turns the fine tuning, and it goes perfect. And then he pulls his hand away, and it goes bad. Fine tunes it perfect, and he pulls his hand away bad. So one time, this bunch of people, guy was up there, and I happened to notice a few people were at the TV set. One guy had his hand on the middle of the screen. He hadn't noticed it, and his foot was up in the air on a chair. And I noticed that, so I turned the jammer off. And then when he took his hand away, the TV went bad. And he noticed it. He detected that if his hand went away or if his foot went down, it went bad, because they were always looking for what positions would make it perfect and then hold it. Well, water. Anyway, so he's there with his hand on the middle of the screen, and they decided, they had a little bit of electricity knowledge, I guess. They said it was a grounding problem. So they sat there for a half an hour with a hand on the middle of a TV screen, and that was fun. I had my first computer class that year, and they were teaching us how to program in Fortran. But there was a new engineering center that had just been built, and the classes were pretty small, so the teacher would address half of the class live, and the rest of us, 2/3 of us, would watch it on TV sets in another room. Well, I took the jammer because they used channel 3, and you know, I built this little jammer cleverly concealed inside of a magic marker pen. And I tuned it in, and sure enough, that TV set went bad, and they all went bad, but the one went bad the worst, and it wasn't near me. All of a sudden, 3 TAs got up, and it was a small class, much smaller than this, maybe, you know, 150 people. The TAs started watching us so close, and I froze. I wasn't gonna reach for my magic marker and get caught turning this thing off. That's what they were looking for. And I was scared. It was like 20 minutes before I could even dare think of risking turning it off. So I said, well, I'll just wait till the whole class gets up to go, because then they can't tell who it is that's moving with it. Well, anyway, I noticed about 10 minutes before class was over, they're still jammed. This guy over next to the TV set that was jammed the worst gets up to leave early. He starts picking up his books and walking out. Well, as he's walking along, the TV's going good and bad, good and bad. He goes out the door, and the TV's perfect. And I got a kick because the TA pointed at him and said, there he goes. So you learn a lesson. If you're gonna pull a prank, and nobody knows where it's coming from, make it look like somebody else did it, and you get 2 pranks for 1. It's the Frank theory.